Hello and welcome everyone. Today we'll be exploring a blended learning case in the elementary ed classroom. During this time, we'll seek out the context and background, the problem and steps taken to solve the problem, the implementation of blended learning, and the assessment of its effectiveness. Then we will investigate the benefits and challenges of blended learning in context, analyze the case, and delve into the lessons learned through examination. Let's get started. The case we will explore today, Time to Engage, Implementing Math and Literacy Blended Learning Routines in an Indian Elementary Classroom. This peer-reviewed study is brought to us by Arnab Kundu, Tripti Bey, and Mary Rice. Today, let's get started with the context and background of the study. This blended learning case takes place in a rural Eastern Indian elementary school in the West Bengal state. The participants of this study are grade 4 students roughly 9 to 10 years old. Now let's seek out our problem. Within the case, there are 4 main issues regarding the educational infrastructure at the elementary school. The first issue is the overall retention of learners. In India, most learners do not reach past a grade 5 education, this meaning that most people do not have a readily available educational opportunity past the age of 11. Next, the complication of overcrowded classrooms causes a great concern for overall education within those years that are afforded to learners. Within these overcrowded classrooms, one can find learners with the lack of technological skills that they'll need for a successful future. Finally, a huge issue within the classroom is a lack of teacher support and trainings afforded to the teachers for their own personal growth. With all of these problems, the researchers have come to the conclusion that something must be done. The researchers gathered the next steps to find a solution to their problems. The first step taken was providing necessary technological means to support the blended learning journey. Within the classroom, the researchers provided teachers and students with technological support, Wi-Fi, training in using the devices effectively, and collaborative planning opportunities with the needed encouragement and support. The next step taken by researchers was the implementation of blended learning into the math and literacy portions of the learner's education. Now let's see how the researchers implemented the blended learning and assessed their implementation. The model was created by Halvorsen and Graham's framework for engagement in the K-12 setting. They followed a design-based research approach throughout their project to gather and analyze the data. Their main focus were promoting attention and time on task. The project lasted 9 weeks. Within the 9 weeks, learners participated in 8 centers. 4 of the centers were math rotations, and the other 4 were literacy rotations. During their time, the learners rotated at a specific time to whichever center they choose. The data was collected over a 9-week period through daily observations at the same time every day to document the level of engagement. They observed students over the 9-week period, basing their level of engagement on predetermined points. Furthermore, the researchers collected teacher interviews. These interviews were used to find their ideas and perception of engagement of the students over the 9-week period. Now that we've seen what the researchers did during their study, let's take a look at the benefits and challenges the study has offered the educational community. The most noticeable outcome from the study is the increased student engagement in their learning. Based on the graph, one can see that over the 9-week period, the level of engagement increased while the disengaged or passive engagement decreased significantly. A more hidden outcome was found included the teacher engagement increasing. Teachers felt as if they had control in their classroom. They enjoyed learning new strategies and finding success for their learners. Furthermore, and most importantly, the project of blended learning brought awareness and hope back into their teaching practice. Though this study did not mention encountering challenges, they did mention a few things that could have affected their study. One included that learners are not always going to be engaged at all times. However, they did find that students got right back on track once being pulled off course. A few challenges that I could imagine the study facing if performed in another classroom include students who are absent and how that might affect the study. Also, everyday interruptions such as spring pictures, presentations, etc. can mess up the daily rotations, so that may have been contributing in an issue of engagement over a 9-week period. Next, let's analyze the case. The case considered here takes learners from passive to actively engaged and ready for learning. As I have combed through the research regarding blended learning and its effectiveness, this case brought up three main themes that are consistent throughout the literature. The first is the autonomy of learning. Similar to Mark Stevens' findings, learners find themselves in charge of their learning and growing. This theme is also found in Shaquan Lee and Wei-Hu Wang's study, where learners perceive blended learning as an opportunity to grow. The next theme found is teacher growth. Throughout the literature, educators find themselves empowered and successful once given the opportunity to practice blended learning. Cecile R. Short et al. Found that when given the opportunity to practice blended learning and grow their knowledge, teachers felt confident in meeting learners' needs, which made them feel successful in their career. So now, with reading all of this research and finding new things, what can we take away from it all? The first thing to consider is to try out blended learning. The thought of reorganizing the way I do my classroom is frightening, but there's real data from a multitude of resources that offer it as a methodology that can truly impact learners and myself in a positive manner. The second thing to learn is that student choice is the road to success. Offering more choice in my classroom regarding the way students are learning is something I need to strive to offer more often. Students all learn at a different pace, so why am I expecting them to be all on the same thing at once? Learning by choice will have a success in creating intrinsically motivated learners. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.